What's up, Mountaineer Faithful, and welcome into another edition of Mountaineer Mafia. Try and do this again. Had some fun with it last year, and want to continue to do it. See if people like it again, and give myself something to do throughout the season. I'm going to try and include some highlights after some games this year, and change it up, shake it up a little bit, and give it a little better presentation overall, hopefully, and got a little bigger screen to look at this year. So without further ado, go ahead and take a look at Thursday night's big game on the SEC network versus the University of Tennessee. Overall, ESPN gives us about a 5% chance of beating UT. They think 95% is on their side. So take that for what it's worth. I think that's obviously a little bit of disrespect, especially after an 11-2 season last year. But it makes sense for most people because they don't know much about us nationally, and they haven't kept up with us since we've won all those national championships in FCS level. But hopefully we can surprise some people this year and pull out, if not a victory, at least a really respectful game while people all over the country watch and tune into this one. So again, 7:30 night game, SEC Network. It's going to be right here, Neyland Stadium at night. And this is the 5th largest college football stadium in the country. It holds 102,000 people. Okay, I don't know the exact number. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now, but it's huge. We have played in Michigan, which is bigger. In 2 years, we'll play at Penn State, which is also bigger. Those are number 1 and 2. This one's number 5, so it's going to be a raucous crowd. It's going to be very loud. And this is just a look as it is. The sun sets here, maybe what it'll look like close to the start of game time on Thursday. Sea of orange is what we'll see. Hopefully we see some pockets of black, maybe a little bit of yellow mixed in there with the faithful that have traveled to this one. Unfortunately, a lot of us who had tickets to get to this one on Saturday, cannot make it now that it is on a Thursday night. But not all bad, good for recruiting, and also good for the fact that some of us will be able to see the game from start to finish on our TVs while we sit in comfort of home or viewing parties in the areas that we live. So we'll get started right here with their most dangerous weapon, Joshua Dobbs. He's a pretty great quarterback, guys. Deshaun Watson last year, he's much like him. He's a mobile quarterback who is going to look to throw first. He's not going to tuck the ball and scramble immediately. He may have some design plays like that, but let's be honest, this guy's going to be looking to throw. He thinks he's improved a lot in the offseason with the throwing. And I watched a little bit of their spring game, which is less of a game and more of a glorified practice. But, most of his throws looked pretty decent. I don't know how much that changed from last year because I didn't get to see a lot of him last year. But I was pretty impressed with his arm and his accuracy. So we'll see what that kind of looks like going in here. And he's not a dumb kid. Most quarterbacks aren't, but this kid's pretty smart. Aerospace, something or other. So he's a pretty smart kid. He's going to be able to read the game and see the game really well. So it'll be interesting to see what our defense can throw at him to mix him up and get him a little confused. And just as a note, there are 2 running backs, Kamara and Hurd, plus him, Dobbs, ran for 2,657 yards last year, and that accounted for 30 total touchdowns. And if you want to compare that to what our 2 running backs and quarterback did last year, Lamb, Cox, and Jalen Moore ran for 2,590 yards and 19 touchdowns. So in the SEC, in overall tougher play from start to bottom, these guys ran for more yards and more touchdowns than our 3 superstars. So that's no small feat. These guys are impressive. So our guys have to be more impressive to take this game. Lamb has to do a little bit better than he did in the Clemson game, and I don't think he really played all that bad. I think he had a couple mental lapses and a couple misreads, and the pressure and the atmosphere maybe got to him a little bit. But you know what? Now he's got that under his belt. He's got a little bit more experience going into this one. And luckily, unlike the Clemson game, the heat probably won't play quite as big of a factor because this is a night game. So we'll see what he can do under the lights. The last time we saw him under the lights at night was our Community Bowl victory over Ohio. And, we had some mistakes in that one too, but all that matters is that we came out on top. So Lamb likes to perform great under big pressure, so we'll see if he can do it again to start the season on Thursday night. And then we'll move back into the running backs. Jalen Hurd, their starting running back this year. He's a great running back. He's just a monster. You know, he puts up numbers in the SEC, and he continues to do so week after week. He's not a flash in the pan. He's going to be around all season. He's going to probably be in the Heisman race unless his quarterback takes some of that votes from him there at the end, or starts throwing for more touchdowns than he lets him run for. But we'll see about that one. We have to counter with our starting running back, Marcus Cox. This is definitely our workhorse back, and he's going to have to carry the rock for us and get us out of those tight situations on short yardage. Hopefully we can pick those up and keep the ball moving in our favor, because the more times we get stopped earlier on in the game, it's just going to be a waterfall for them. Just going to keep flowing emotion to them and atmosphere, and the crowd be going crazy. It's not good. We need to pick up first downs, and the way we're going to do that is to continually run the ball as best we can. We got a young core of wide receivers who are a little unproven. That could lend into our hands a little bit as far as they don't have any tape on these guys, but it's also going to depend a little bit on how Lamb and these guys have worked in the offseason to get their chemistry up, not having a whole season worth under their belt. Shaden Metters is probably our most veteran wideout coming back, and he's going to bring some excitement to that game, I can already tell you. And his speed is going to be a factor, and he has great hands. We've seen his catches on ESPN highlight films a couple times. So, we've got one steady guy that we know we can count on in the big situations. Let's see who else can step up and help out the running game, because if we can get some throws and then continue to pound the rock down their throats, it's going to be a good night for us. Still might not be a win, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If we can put up just a really respectable, tight game here, I think we'll earn a lot of respect nationally and continue to look for good things in the future. Now, here's their other running back, Kamara. He was a transfer from Alabama a year ago, and some people think he's actually a better running back than Jalen Hurd. But we'll see if that's the case. Bottom line is, we need to be worried about this two-headed monster. Our defense is going to have to be ready to stop these guys, because much like us wanting to run the ball, these guys are going to be wanting to run the ball too. I'm sure they're going to throw in a bunch of passing plays to mix it up, because they will be able to. Just with the size of their wideouts, they're going to be picking up first downs, but they're going to be running the ball as much as they can and get these guys touches and get these guys confident going into the conference play here. So we're going to have to counter with our second running back, Jalen Moore. He's a little bit smaller. He's going to have a tough time in this SEC defense, but we've seen what he can do. He can be counted on. He's a workhorse. He's going to try and get every yard he can out of the ball. Just got to make sure to hold on to that ball. These SEC defenders are going to be coming after that ball each and every play, knowing that because he's a little smaller, they might have a little bit better chance of knocking it away from him. So we got to just do a good job of protecting the ball there. Here's our little secret, I think. Terrence Upshaw. So they have a two backfield presence with their two guys. We have two, but we also have a third, and this is our biggest back right now on the roster going into the season. And Terrence Upshaw's got the power. We saw it last year at Clemson. He had some couple big runs, and the reason he had some of those is because he's a little bit more powerful of a back than the other two. He might not be as flashy, and he's definitely not got the top-end speed of Jalen Moore, Marcus Cox, but he's got the power to go through those guys sometimes. And, if there's two or three coming at him, I don't know who's going to win that battle. I'm guessing the SEC defenders. But if we can get him one-on-one, he can shed some tackles and break some stuff open for us down the field. So hopefully we can get the ball into his hands as well and keep that running game going. Now here's my little surprise factor for Tennessee, although I don't know how much of a surprise it is because he's considered one of the best return guys in the nation. This is Evan Berry right here in the center of your screen. And we don't want to see anything like this picture throughout the game because everyone in here is going nuts. He's probably returning a punt or a kickoff at this point. We can't have that happen. He's going to get some yards because he is so quick and elusive, but we got to put a stop to it as fast as possible. We can't give up field position to these guys. We got to give them as little as possible so that our defense has some confidence and can stop them to give the offense the ball right back. And this here is Bob Shoop. He got brought in as a defensive coordinator this year after what they consider to be a disappointing defensive effort from last season. He's hoping to turn that around. He said he's really excited about some of the stuff he's seen, and he's got some good guys coming back for him. He might not have any true superstars that stand out nationally, but he does have a really good tackler right here by the name of Jalen Reeves Maiden. And this guy's no joke. I went back and watched some highlight film on him. He reminds me a lot of Shaq Thompson, for those of you who are Panthers fans. He came from Washington, Shaq Thompson did, and he's played well for the Panthers. And this guy's got a lot of the physical, nasty, just vicious hits that Shaq can produce because of his size and speed combination. He reminds me of him. Not quite as big as Shaq Thompson, but if you watch him play, you do not want to get hit by this guy. So as much as we can keep Lamb moving around in the pocket or protect him really well so he can stay in that pocket without being touched, we'll be okay. But we can't let this guy get to him too often. And then defensively for us, John Law, number 88, is going to have a big game. He's a huge leader on this team. He's one of the captains this year. He's going to have to lead this team defensively. Don't bend but don't break. Tennessee is going to get some first downs. They're going to get some touchdowns. They're going to have some big plays. That's just what happens when SEC teams play just about anybody. So he's got to keep our guys' heads in it. Don't get frustrated. Don't lose your cool. Don't worry about one play because you got another one coming up. So he's got to keep these guys in line and keep them going throughout the night, and hopefully he can do that. And by his side will be Eric Boggs, who's another tackling machine. He had the most tackles for us last year for the season. Not quite as big as John Law, maybe not quite as powerful, but trust me, just like Jalen Reeves Maiden for Tennessee, he can hit some people. So if we get an open look, I got no doubts that he can be taking down the quarterback a couple times in this game. But I don't know what the final score will be. I saw something about 41-17 in favor of Tennessee. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping we can have a better showing than that, and I hope we will give up less points than 41 to Tennessee. I think that'd be a great showing for us. Again, we're working with some new wideouts to start this season off with. If we can keep them intact offensively, maybe put some points up on the board on our end pretty good, I got a good feeling about this, not necessarily for a win, but to come out with a lot of confidence and no injuries, hopefully, and go into next week with ODU at home with a lot of confidence to just come back no matter what the score is on this one. But I'm going to say we're going to hold it within 20 points, and I really hope we can do that. And I hope it's even less than that, and then I'd be shocked and happy as hell if we could come out with a win, just like anybody else. But I'm going to say this could be as close as a 20-point game, which is probably about the line. I think the last line I looked at was 22.5 points. So I think that'd be respectable and lend us a good starting point to our season. And overall, I think we're ready to start the season, both as fans and as players on the team. So have fun, watch the game Thursday night, and go at it.